Right, here we go with some hints for homework sheet 17. Question 1, removing brackets and tidying up. So looking at the expression we've got here, what we do not want to do is the 5 add the 2. What we really want to do is 2 times the bracket. So keep the 5 and then do 2 times x, take away 2 times 1, tidy that up, done. Second one, pairs of brackets. So we go x times x, x squared, x times negative 5, 3 times x, 3 times negative 5, tidy all that up, again done. The third part, a little bit more complicated, but just do the same thing as we did previously. So we do x times x squared, which is x cubed, x times 4x, which is 4x squared, x times 1, which is x, then 2 times x squared, 2 times 4x, 2 times 1, tidy it all up, and we have our answer. Question 2, fractions. Well, we know that when we're doing takeaway fractions, we have to deal with the whole numbers first of all. So the first thing we're going to do is 5 take away 2, which is 3. Then we're going to deal with the fractions. So looking at the 4 here, looking at the 6 here, we need to find a number which is both in the 4 times table and the 6 times table. Now that number's 12. So once you've got a new bottom number, get the new top numbers, do the takeaway, and you've got your answer. Question 3, factorizing, bringing back the brackets. So the first one is a common factor. So what number goes into 10 and 15? That's going to go on the outside of the bracket. You decide what goes inside the bracket. Second one is a difference of 2 squares. So that's a pair of brackets. X times x gives you the first one. You can work out what goes at the end of the brackets. The next 2 parts, pair of brackets again. X squared, x times x again. Now, the next number we look at here is the 12. And we think of all the numbers we can use to make 12 by times in. So 2 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Now which of these pairs, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, which one of these pairs is going to give you positive 4? Right, can you make a positive 4 by using 1 and 12? Can you make a positive 4 using a 2 and a 6? Can you make a positive 4 using a 3 and a 4? Once you decide which one it is, one of the numbers is going to be positive, one of the numbers is going to be negative. The last one, usually the hardest one in these types of questions. So we know the brackets this time are going to be 2x times x at the start. So to find the number in the middle, we use this little method, remember, 2x and x. Looking now at the positive 6, what numbers can you use to make 6? 1 and 6, 2 and 3, 3 and 2, 6 and 1. And if you check by cross multiplying, so what's 2 times 6? That's 12. Make it a wee bit smaller so we can fit it all in. 2 times 6 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. Can I use a 12 and a 1 to make this 7? Nope. Then do 2 times 3, 6. 2 times 1, 2. Can I use these numbers to make a 7? And so on and so on and so on. Once you find the one that's correct, then remember we write the answer as 2x plus that number, and then x plus that number, all positive this time. Okay, question 4 percentages. So we have a computer which is to be reduced by 20%. So find 10% of 450, then get 20%, and then do a takeaway sum. The 450 take away what the 20% is for your final answer. Second part of that question, the £400 is after a 20% reduction. So this is a reverse percentage. And a reverse percentage means instead of doing a times sum, we do a divide sum. So it's 400 divided by 80%. Why is it 80%? Because if you've lost 20, then you must be left with 80. So probably easier if I write it as 400 over 0.8. You work your magic to get your answer. Question 5, completing a square. So we know it's going to look like something squared, and then there's going to be a number at the end here. So, not giving the game away if we say x goes in there, because x times x for x squared. Now the number that goes on here, you should know that it's half this number. Okay, square it, and then think to yourself, how do I make it now up to 5? And that's what number goes in here. Just like we've been doing in class. Question 6, we've got this lorry, or is it a van? A van. Okay, so when it's laden, when it's got all its goods in it, it weighs 3,260. When it's empty, it weighs 2,300. So if you do a takeaway sum, then you can work out how much the toys weigh, or the boxes and toys. Okay. You know there is 8 boxes on the van, so dividing that number by 8 will tell you how much each one is. Then you're told that a box on its own weighs 10 kilograms. So if you take that off, you'll get the weight of just the toys, and then you divide that by 200, because we have 200 toys. Question 7. Split this shape up across here. Why? Because it gives us a nice right angle triangle, and we can use Pythagoras now. Now, looking at the picture, we know that the bottom of the shape is 2, so that means that's going to be 2. We know that this side here is 3, because it matches that 3. So it means this little bit up the top here, which we need, is 1. If I call that x, I can use Pythagoras, x squared equals, to work out what x is. Question 8, some equations. So, what we're looking for is the letters on this side and the numbers on that side. That's what we're looking for when we're doing equations. So in other words, this positive 6 is going to have to move over there. So I end up with 3x equals, now if the positive 6 moves over, from there over to there, it does the opposite. So if it was adding on that side, what's it going to do on this side? Once you've got what 3x is, it's easy to work out what x is. For the second one, slightly more complicated. Why? Because this time the 2 is going to go over to that side, or in fact the negative 2 is going to go over to that side, and the positive 3 is going to come over to this side. So you have 7x minus 3x, because it was positive over here, so when it moves it becomes negative, is equal to the 10 it was on that side, and then the negative 2 moves over. Negative 2 moving over becomes positive 2. Tidy this side up, tidy this side up, work out what x is. The last one is very, very, very similar, but the first thing you need to do is remove the brackets. So 5 times x, 5 times negative 3 is equal to 3 times 3, 9. 3 times negative x, negative 3x. Then you're in the same procedure as you were a minute ago. the x's need to go over here, and the negative 15 needs to go over here. You'll get so many x's equal a number, and then you can work out what x is. Lastly, number 9, the distance, speed, time. Used to calculate the speed. We know the formula for speed is distance divided by time. Luckily for us, the question tells us what the distance is, 54. It also tells us the time is 1 hour and 12 minutes. Well, we can't put that in our calculator. So, what are we going to do? Well, the issue here is this 12 minutes. Okay, now one way you could do it is to say, well, it's going to be 54 divided by, and we know an hour is 60, plus the 12 divided by 72. But that's going to give your answer, I'll make it a wee bit smaller again, that's going to give your answer in miles per minute. We want it in miles per hour. So the simplest way to change miles per minute to miles per hour is just to times by 60. Okay, so the easiest way, change the 1 hour 12 into 72 minutes, do your calculation, and then remember to times by 60 to put it into hours. Okay guys, hopefully that's it.